right here.
Touchdown Raiders!
Are you ready?
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Join Coach Tom Flores and me for all your Raiders football all season long. If it's Raiders football, it's right here.
On AM 830. The following is a paid program. Opinions expressed are those of the program sponsors and not necessarily the views of AM 830, its owners, or management.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio on AM 830 KLAA. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Ron Siegel.
Good morning, Southern California. Welcome to Ron Siegel's Real Talk on the Real Estate Radio Network. Real Talk is a show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, and even poking fun at the rest of the media. But our main focus is building Southern California real estate with accurate, real-time advice. And boy, do we have a show for you today. We have got some great information. I've got attorney Brian Ballo in studio with us. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Ron.
Before we get into our real estate, let's talk a little bit about some of the sports, being that we are broadcasting live here from Angel Stadium. I can get on my soapbox a little bit. Unfortunately, we don't have anything good to talk about in college football. My Trojans lost to Stanford 35-37. Once again, we've got some problems over there on defense. I don't know. You score 35 points, you'd expect to be able to win. I am an early morning person, though, so I did get a chance to look at the newspaper this morning. I did see a classified ad, being that I was checking out the unemployment reports, and I saw an ad for 17 to 19-year-olds. They're looking for some defensive help at USC. They did put a toll-free number in there. It was 1-800-WE SUCK. Unbelievable how bad that defense is. I think they're rated like 115 or 116 out of 115 or 116 in the FCS. Horrible, horrible. The only thing I could say good about yesterday's football was Cal beat UCLA 35-7, but unfortunately our Trojans have to face them next week. And then I've been listening on some of the sports talk shows about the American League Cy Young, and I just can't believe that everyone's talking about CC Sabathia to be the Cy Young winner, winning his 21 games for that all-star team in New York, when Felix Hernandez has had such a spectacular year on a less than admirable team in Seattle. But that's just my sports rant for the morning. And we're going to get back to what we're supposed to be talking about, Real Talk, real estate. Real Talk is a program dedicated to teaching you the why and the how-to within Southern California's marketplace. And there's so much to talk about that I decided this morning that I wasn't going to go with our normal script and our normal programming. Our producer, Ronnie Q, I know is on his way to Las Vegas. So I know that he's not listening, so I can't get in trouble for going and talking about some of the stuff that I really thought was important and things that I saw this week going on. You know, we had that the moratorium where attorneys general in 40 states are said to join in on foreclosures, and Brian can help us out there. This robo-signing. You know, what was it? In the 80s, I think, we had a Styx song that was Robo something or another. Now we've got robo signers, Brian. What's that all about?
Yeah, we've got officials at the bank admitting that they're signing up to 8,000 declarations that they've talked to the borrower.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm signed under penalty of perjury.
Definitely was not happening, and that's part of the reason why Bank of America just, the big news of the week, nationwide moratorium on foreclosures for about 60 days now.
Unbelievable. That's, and I wonder with all the foreclosures that they've been doing this, I wonder if 60 days is really going to even mean anything. Can they get anything done in that short a period of time? It's kind of crazy in my world, but I'm looking at that was one of the articles that I saw here from this week. I guess that was the latter part of the week, and I'm just wondering, and I shouldn't share too much of my political opinions, but I do anyway. I wonder if our Attorney General in California is watching these things, or is he busy with doing other things these days? It's kind of a question mark, but that's kind of my political perspective. I've never been one to understand how it is that people that are elected officials can leave their post to go and try and get another job for these extended periods and still maintain that job. I just don't understand that. We had that with President Obama, who was an absentee senator while he was campaigning, and now we've got Attorney General Brown out doing a different, trying to get a new job. I guess he doesn't like his old one, but if they don't like it, why don't they just get rid of it or step down from that and start doing what they really want to be doing? Just doesn't make sense to me. And then I looked in the news also this week, and my friend Steve Harney, who many of you have heard me talk about over the time we've been on air together, sent me these a couple of screenshots. And again, you can get any of the screenshots and things that we talk about from our Facebook page. It's www.facebook.com/Real Estate Radio with Ron. No spaces. But we post all the stuff that we talk about right there. But Steve sent me this document that says confusion. And one of the items that came out on Housing Wire on September 16th says foreclosures down for the third straight month as lenders manage backlog. Same day, Bloomberg, September 16th, U.S. home seizures reach record for third time in 5 months. Now we've got two reputable sources, both giving us exact opposite information. So I learned early on in my days at Chapman when we were doing statistics, you can pretty much make statistics say whatever you want them to say. And I'll explain how we were able to come by that. But, again, basically a week later, the Wall Street Journal, September 23rd, existing home sales up 7.6%. September 23rd, Fund Strategy, existing home sales down 19%. Now, if you're not a regular listener to Real Talk, you could really get confused by what all of these reports are coming out and what they're saying, because all of these things are coming out on Yahoo Finance, and you can see them online anytime you want. But what do they all mean? So let's clear up this, and I'll tell you what's going to happen just as much as what has already happened. When they talk about existing home sales up 7.6 and existing home sales down 19, what they're not telling you is one of them is comparing month-over-month numbers. The other is comparing year-over-year numbers. So that's how they come up with those different statistics, but they don't give you enough information to really know what they mean. So when they're talking about, when we look at what happened last year at this time, that the sales were being pulled forward. Last year in October, we were just about at the end of the first stimulus or the tax credit for home buyers. You had to close that by the end of November, so you had to be in contract basically by the end of October. So what we're finding is we're reporting now that these numbers are down from last year. Well, they are down from last year because we pulled so many people forward who were going to buy but didn't know when they were going to buy. They pulled them forward to an earlier time period. So what we're going to see going forward now is we're going to see how bad numbers are, because they still haven't reported all those numbers. So we're going to start seeing how bad we're going to hear all these reports that existing sales are down. And that's accurate. They are down over last year, but they're down over a false number. So be aware when you start seeing that. Don't get concerned. I was just with some real estate agents this past week, and they're telling me in their area here in Southern California that they're actually seeing price increases. They're seeing homes selling quicker. So remember, when you're hearing things like from the Wall Street Journal, Fund Strategy, Bloomberg, Housing Wire, all these different sources that are giving you this information, they're reporting accurately, but they're reporting on a national level. Most of our listeners are not buying houses in Des Moines, and they're not buying houses in Austin, Texas. we're buying houses or we're selling houses or we're dealing with our situations right here in Southern California, and we need the information on what's going on here, not there. And that's why we know, as a regular listener to Real Talk, you're going to get the information you need from us. And if you have any questions at any time, feel free to call us at our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We also just started this month. We came out with a newsletter for you to give you a lot of information during our off-air times as well, because we just can't get to everything during the show. So we've got a number of articles in our newsletter this time. One of them is about getting a home loan checkup. One of them, budgeting. It's never too early to start budgeting for the holidays. Beating the sugar habit. Everything you need to know about replacement windows. Great snacks for the football party. We're here at Angel Stadium. We've got TVs on here so I can actually watch football while I talk to you. If you want to get a copy of our free magazine, feel free to go to the website or go to the Facebook page, the website, realestateradio.com, or to, again, the Facebook page, facebook.com/Real Estate Radio with Ron, no spaces. So, again, we're going a little off our topic today. We didn't get the segment. We didn't get to talk about the fact that Michael Jackson's last home was just listed for $28 million. Anybody has an extra spare $28 million, we can talk about that as well. But when we come back, Brian and I are going to be speaking about how the California courts will help you stop foreclosure, how to get a $100,000 discount on your next home purchase, when are the 7 million foreclosures coming to market, and how to set the right price for your home. We're going to even try and get to some of the emails that are coming in at realestateradio.com. Call me anytime at our off-air number, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or realestateradio.com. Stay tuned to the Real Estate Radio Network. We'll be back in just a few.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.com for more info. That's realestateradio.com.
Have you been to car dealers only to be disappointed by their small inventory? That's not the case at Connell Nissan in Costa Mesa. The Connell family has been serving the community for well over 40 years. Connell Nissan in Costa Mesa wants to buy your car or truck. That's right. Go to ConnellNissan.com to receive your estimated value 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's CONNELL Nissan.com. Or better yet, take the 405 freeway, Harbor Boulevard exit, go south towards the beach about 1 mile to Connell Nissan in Costa Mesa.
Are you tired of losing money due to the risk associated with the stock, bond, and real estate markets? Well, there's a new asset class in town that has captured the wisdom of Warren Buffett. According to the Wall Street Journal and CNN Money, Buffett has invested billions into this asset class that offers safety, security, diversification, and superior return potential. For years, the smaller investors have been locked out of this investment. Hi, I'm John Moratori, President of Pacific Partners, Inc., a financial service company, and I would like to ask you a question. If this asset is good enough for Warren Buffett, is it good enough for you? Call us today to set up a free, no-obligation appointment to discuss your finances and an investment solution that can meet your needs. For complete details, call us at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990, and tell us you want what Warren has.
Real Estate Radio is hosted by local real estate and finance expert Ron Siegel. The purpose of this show is to help consumers understand what's really going on in our local real estate market. We're teaching you the why and the how-to, so you'll always be one step ahead of everyone else. Whether you need to sell your home for top dollar, refinance and save money, or even buy a bargain in Southern California, Ron Siegel can help. Call Ron directly at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Take advantage of speaking with Ron anytime you're entering a real estate transaction. Having someone who can answer all of your questions that truly cares about you and your family's best interest is priceless. Call Ron Siegel today and you'll be glad you did. 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or you can visit realestateradio.com for more info. Have you asked your employer what kind of home mortgage benefits your company offers? Cal Home Benefits has a complete range of home and mortgage benefits, which can save you $5,000 to $10,000 on your living expenses, and the benefit program is completely free to California businesses and groups. If your company or group is not offering home and mortgage benefits, please visit calhomebenefits.com or call 1-800-998-1990. That's 1-800-998-1990. It's free to the organization and can save you thousands. Reverse mortgages are loans against the equity of a senior American's home. With a reverse mortgage, the homeowner can convert their home equity into cash. It also benefits homeowners in many other ways. With most types of the loans, the lender verifies your income and uses that figure to determine the amount you'll be able to pay. You don't have to satisfy the monthly repayments with a reverse mortgage. Homeowners over the age of 62 years may apply for a reverse mortgage, even without any income. For more information about reverse mortgages, just call our off-air number at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit realestateradio.com and click the free workshop button. You're listening to Real Estate Radio with local expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Radio Network. I, of course, am Ron Siegel, and I'm joined this morning with Brian Ballo, attorney Brian Ballo. I better get that right. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning.
Okay, as you're aware, Real Estate Radio is not only designed to educate, but to entertain Southern California, and the best place to start is a real story of how we've helped someone. This segment is being brought to you by myratetrack.com. If you want a personalized mortgage checkup at any time, just go to myratetrack.com, enter your specific information, and the system will immediately generate an 8-page mortgage checkup for you. It's totally free when you enter my name, Ron, R-O-N, as the promo code. And this segment that we're talking about right now is kind of an interesting story. Kind of had an online discussion on our Facebook page this past week with a friend of mine, Kirk, he's in Pittsburgh, so it's kind of nice being able to talk online and things like that. And he and I were going back and forth about where interest rates are, where interest rates are going, and what the real effects of those are at this time. And I was saying I think that now is a great time to buy real estate. And he was saying, well, maybe it's not. And what we were looking at was interest rates, where they are. So again, being that I am a licensed mortgage loan originator, I have to tell you that these rates are not for everybody. We're just talking hypotheticals here. The numbers are somewhat accurate as far as the interest rates, but you have to qualify. You have to have the right property. You have to have the right equity. You have to have the right credit score, all those good things. But today, if you have a 5.5% interest rate on a $200,000 loan amount, your payment's $1,135. If you were to refinance that into a 4.5% interest rate, and right now obviously we're doing a lot of loans with no costs and no fees and no increase to your balance, and you can call our off-air number at 800-306-1990 to see if that works for you. But if you did a loan at 4.5%, that same $200,000 loan would be $1,013. Now, a more normalized interest rate, and, well, Brian, you've been in real estate and in Southern California for quite a number of years, so you could probably vouch that 7.5% is not outrageous. You've probably seen double-digit interest rates, haven't you?
Sure.
Okay, so 7.5%, if you had that 7.5%, which 3 years ago that was a pretty common rate, that same $200,000 loan would be $1,398. So it's almost $400 more than today's 4.5% rates. Now, going backwards, what that equates to is if you wanted to get that same $1,013 rate as the 4.5% $200,000, that would only get you a $145,000 loan at the 7.5% rate. So prices would have to decline by nearly 37% in order to match numbers. So do we really think that there's another 37.5% in declines coming in Southern California? My guess and my commentary was probably not, but I didn't make $4 billion a couple years ago like John Paulson did. John Paulson and his hedge fund made about $4 billion, and they came out just recently, September 27th, and said that now is the time to buy. Now, he was the reason he made so much money is he was shorting the mortgage-backed securities in 06, 07 time period when they were the hottest thing on the market. He actually saw ahead of time that these were going to go in the other direction, and he said, okay, we're going to turn that around, and the market's going to drop, and we're going to put our money there. And he made, like I say, about $4 billion. And he's now saying it's the time to buy. Actually, here's the quote. It says, if you don't own a home, buy one. If you own one home, buy another one. If you own two homes, buy a third and lend your relatives the money to buy one. That's a pretty strong statement. That was just the 27th of September. So that's about as powerful as you can get on a person that makes his money predicting the future of different industries. So now if a guy that made just recently $4 billion in mortgages is saying now's the time to buy, why do you think he would be saying now's the time to buy? Well, basically he's saying now's the time to buy because he thinks he can make money on it. Now, I'm not so naive to say that a hedge fund manager would not be saying this after he's already bought. Now, because that's going to drive his portfolio higher also, and that's what he's in business to do, is to generate money for his investors. He can't do these front running and things like that. There's laws against that. I don't know, Brian, maybe you know this, maybe you don't. If the front running laws apply to hedge fund managers?
Well, no, he's just making a general comment on the market. I don't think he's promoting his particular fund, but
right, yeah, he's absolutely not promoting his fund. He's just saying that that's in the market. He may or may not be into it because he was also in some of those same articles, giving his predictions on other areas within the market. And again, if you want to see these stories, I've got them right there on Facebook.com/Real Estate Radio with Ron. Again, no spaces, so you can grab that article that I'm kind of looking at, and you can see the whole story here. But it's just amazing, all these different things. And another one that I saw here that I was really kind of interested to look, and I wanted to share with all of you is, as we start going into the election season, and I again urge people, get educated. Now, I'm not going to tell you to vote conservative or vote the wrong way or anything like that. I'm not going to give you my opinions. But I do say that take a look at what's going on, and we did have that mention a couple of times that we've kind of replayed here, and I'll share it with you again.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
That's kind of it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. How do you really pass a bill to find out what's in it? But Kiplinger's tax letter, again, that's one of the many publications that I read, their October 1st issue, talks about the effect of a 3.8% surtax on the sale of real estate. That's part of the health care bill. I don't know how many of you have listened, have read that or got the information on that 3.8% surtax that's coming up. But you should be knowing what it is, and it's really targeted at California. I mean, it has a lot to do with some of the higher-priced properties, and when I say higher-priced is a relative term. So California, everything in California is higher-priced according to the folks in Washington, because they basically say this is targeting the $250,000 and above. And I'm not a tax advisor, so I highly urge you to speak to your tax professional, get the full information, or you can get a copy of the Kiplinger tax letter. We have that there. Just amazing, all the things that are going on right now, and how you've really got to be out there educating yourself. There's so much going on, and I'm really thrilled that Brian came in to help us talk about some of these foreclosure things that are going on and some of the people that are losing their homes, because we want to really keep the show positive. I'm not one of these folks that likes to dwell on the negative. I've talked to you many, many times, and I've talked to many of our 7 listeners in person about the fact that the media likes to sell negativity. Well, we want to be selling positive. We know that there's a lot of negativity. We know that people are hurting. We know that people have lost their jobs. But the real solution, the real thing that we want to talk about is how do we help them? How do we turn that around? And that's really what we're about here. And that's why Brian is so graciously sharing some of his Sunday morning here. So when we come back, we can start talking about some of those things and how the judicial system is helping out. So when we come back, Brian and I are going to be speaking about how the California courts will help stop your foreclosure and how to get a $100,000 discount on your next mortgage or your next property, and when 7 million foreclosures are going to come to market, and how to set the right price for your home. And again, we're going to try and get to some of the emails you've been sending in to realestateradio.com. Remember, for your questions or comments about anything we have discussed today, or any questions you might have at any time, you can reach me at our off-air number, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or realestateradio.com. Stay tuned to the Real Estate Radio Network. We'll be back in just a few.
Our house in the middle of our street. Our house in the middle of our house.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.com for more info. That's realestateradio.com.
Are you tired of losing money due to the risk associated with the stock, bond, and real estate markets? Well, there's a new asset class in town that has captured the wisdom of Warren Buffett. According to the Wall Street Journal and CNN Money, Buffett has invested billions into this asset class that offers safety, security, diversification, and superior return potential. For years, the smaller investors have been locked out of this investment. Hi, I'm John Moratori, President of Pacific Partners, Inc., a financial service company, and I would like to ask you a question. If this asset is good enough for Warren Buffett, is it good enough for you? Call us today to set up a free, no-obligation appointment to discuss your finances and an investment solution that can meet your needs. For complete details, call us at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990, and tell us you want what Warren has.
Proposition 23 is an important measure facing voters this November. Small business leaders and taxpayer groups put the impact of Proposition 23 in perspective. John Kabatek, president of the National Federation of Independent Business, shares his perspective on the need for Proposition 23, which will help struggling small businesses and families by avoiding 60% electricity rate hikes.
The fact is, Californians are struggling like never before. More than 2.2 million Californians are out of work. Small businesses are closing their doors faster than ever before. Proposition 23 is a reasonable approach for people struggling at a time like this.
And John Kupal, president of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association, stresses the importance of Proposition 23 in protecting taxpayers from a massive new energy tax when we can least afford it.
What Proposition 23 would do is temporarily suspend the full implementation of AB 32 until such time as California got back on its economic footing again. And it's a very reasonable proposal.
To learn more about this measure, text Prop 23 to 82442.
Determining the truth about reverse mortgages is not easy. You need to be educated on the program so that you can make the best decision for your personal situation. Basically, if you get a reverse mortgage, you'll be getting a loan that will allow you to have a monthly income coming in, or a large lump sum at once, or a credit line. You can get any combination of these things as well. If you have an existing loan, it will be paid off so you will not have a house payment. The monthly income you receive from the reverse mortgage is guaranteed, and you will receive it as long as you remain living in the home. Regardless of the length of your life, your debt can never be more than the worth of your home. For more information about reverse mortgages, just call our off-air number at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990, or visit realestateradio.com and click the free workshop button.
Have you been to car dealers only to be disappointed by their small inventory? That's not the case at Connell Nissan in Costa Mesa. The Connell family has been serving the community for well over 40 years. Connell Nissan in Costa Mesa wants to buy your car or truck. That's right. Go to ConnellNissan.com to receive your estimated value 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's CONNELL Nissan.com. Or better yet, take the 405 freeway, Harbor Boulevard exit, go south towards the beach about 1 mile to Connell Nissan in Costa Mesa.
Hi, we're here with Ron Siegel, the host of Real Estate Radio. Ron, welcome to the studio. Give us insight as to what your show is all about.
Hi, Eric. Thanks for having me. Thanks for asking me that question. The reason we developed Real Estate Radio is right now there is an abundance of misinformation out there. So Real Estate Radio is a show designed to give Southern California a focal point for their real estate knowledge, as well as a place to go just in case they might need anything real estate related.
So how are you helping people?
That's actually pretty simple. People need advice. So it really doesn't matter who you are. If you have any real estate questions, we're here to help. Whether you're buying a home, selling, you're experiencing a loan modification, short sale, foreclosure, there are a lot of things going on in this marketplace.
How can people get a hold of you?
Real easy. All you have to do is call. The number is 1-800-306-1990. Press option 1.
Interesting times in the market right now. Where do you think the markets are going from here?
That's a great question. All I can say is this. The housing market came down one house at a time, and what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to build it one house, one family at a time. So the best thing that anyone can do is access the free advice that we really want to give you. And to do that, you simply need to call me. The number is 1-800-306-1990. Option 1. I'd really love to help.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio with local expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Ron Siegel. I, of course, am Ron Siegel, and we're discussing the current financial markets. And we are here with attorney Brian Ballo. Thank you for joining, Brian.
Thank you, Ron.
Remember, for any questions, please call me anytime at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or realestateradio.com. And I appreciate a caller just while we've been on air, James, calling in and wanting to get a copy of our new magazine. It's a online magazine, James, so I need you to send me an email address, and we'll get that to you because there's some videos in there and a lot of great information. So thanks for calling calling in and leaving that voice message for me while we're on air. I want to make sure we get that to you, and anybody else that wants it, just send me your email address. You can go to realestateradio.com. There's a place in there to put the your email address, or on the Facebook page, either one. You can join our mailing list. But I love what our main topic this morning is going to be about foreclosures, and I've got attorney Brian Ballo in the studio with us today. And remember, I've told you folks, every one of our 7 listeners have heard me say this over time, that when attorneys are speaking with attorneys or corresponding with attorneys, one of the first things that they do is look at the opposing attorney's bar number, and that kind of gives them an indication as to where, the longevity of the opposing counsel. Now, I looked at Brian's number, and it starts with a 1-3, and these are 6-digit numbers, and it doesn't matter all the rest of it. But right now, the new attorneys that are coming to the market are in the 2-3s, 2-4s. Brian's been a real estate attorney for 25 years in Orange and San Diego counties. His Newport Beach-based law office currently represents homeowners in lawsuits against lenders and helps the borrowers obtain loan modifications. And it's not these fly-by-nights. Brian's been doing this 25 years, and that's an important thing because, as much as I'm sure he loves his clients, he's not going to put his career and his license on the line to do some of the shady things that we've been listening to in the news recently. What Brian does, and this is kind of something new to me when he and I were talking over the last couple of weeks before him coming in studio, is he's articulating a cause of action against lenders who have violated laws both at the time of loan origination and closing, as well as during the foreclosure and loan modification process. He's getting temporary restraining orders against the banks and the big boys. It's not just the little ones. So that's kind of an interesting scenario. Brian was lender counsel who drafted hundreds of sets of commercial loan documents for Washington Mutual, IndyMac, Impact, and several credit unions. And now Brian represents the residential borrowers who have experienced a financial hardship but earn sufficient income to make a reduced mortgage payment.
Lone Ranger. horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-Yo Silver. The Lone Ranger.
You must feel like the Lone Ranger, Brian, going against all these big boys with all their attorneys.
It is David against Goliath, but my approach is to elevate the discussion. It's the borrower trying to talk to really the frontline people at the bank, and they've been trying to get a loan modification. They may have submitted information, but here it is, 6-9 months, over a year later, and the bank still can't give them an answer. Meanwhile, the clock's ticking. The notice of default's been recorded, and people are coming to me a month away from the sale date, asking me what can be done.
So let's back up a little bit, because I know at least 1 or 2 of the 7 listeners, are throwing their mail away before they open it. And they're putting their heads in the sand, and I keep telling you, don't do that. You've got to read the mail that you get. There's a lot of junk mail, and the things that say this is an advertisement on the front, that's probably the junk mail, and it might look official, but you really got to know. So the first step in this process that they're going to come to is the notice of default, I believe.
Right.
Okay, so when they get the notice of default, is that when they would need to be calling you? They need what? Tell us about a notice of default first.
Well, the notice of default is they may have gotten a letter from their lender before that, which is simply they're behind in their payments. The lender, lenders are reaching out. The problem is that it tends to be in just kind of a form-based process, and the people that they have calling, aren't really having a meaningful discussion with the homeowner.
I hear a lot that it's machines calling. It's not even people calling.
It's, they've got auto dialers if you're late. It's the same way, just like the credit card people, following up on delinquent obligations. But, the homeowners got to pay attention when they get a copy of the notice of default, which has been filed with the county recorder's office, and that really starts the clock on about a 4.5-month process before a foreclosure sale can occur.
Okay, so then the notice of default's filed if you don't respond to the lender. Maybe just filed. It may be filed anyway, but you get the notice of default. Then we get to the notice of the notice of foreclosure.
Well, yeah. Let's back up. Before they can file, there's a law which is passed here, which is California Civil Code 2923.5. Says that before the lender can file the notice of default, that they need to contact the borrower in person or by telephone in order to assess the borrower's financial situation and explore options for the borrower to avoid foreclosure.
Now, is that a federal law, a state law, city law?
That's a statewide. That's the California Civil Code.
California Civil Code, okay.
And they also have to sign a declaration saying that they've done that.
So we can robo-sign.
Well, that's the problem that the lenders and the trustees have been doing that. I think in too automatic of a form-based process. But you made a good point, Ron. People can't put their head in the sand. If they do get letters, if they do get calls, the code also says that they can request a meeting. And the borrower can request a meeting with the lender. And people should do that. A lot of this stuff over the phone just doesn't... I think it's very inefficient. They try to interview you. If you call up a lot of lenders, they start asking you about all your income and expenses. I mean, who knows all of their expenses and can rattle them all off in a
My wife doesn't want me to know all of them.
So that's not efficient.
Sure.
You've got to fax all this information in. I think the lender should allow everybody to communicate by email, be a lot more efficient. And the problem also is that every time you call the lender, it's a different person. There's no you don't develop any contact or continuity.
It's hard to follow up with a new person every time and start from square one.
Absolutely, that's what happens.
Sure.
And you're just like submitting this information into a black hole while people are in distress. And they want to know. People actually want to know, what can we do? It's a frustrating dialogue that sometimes goes on for way too long, and then, after a notice of trustee sale is recorded, which is giving them notice that the home's going to be sold in 21 days. Time's running out. They can't rely on hearing back from the lender about if they're going to get that loan mod, or if the lender's going to approve a short sale.
So that's when your clients are coming to you?
That's when they're coming to me. And
we know one thing that we're going to get from you.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Love that clip. I use that a lot in here. But, folks, it's real important. Don't put your head in the sand. You've got to call a professional. Brian's here in studio. I've told you before, don't put your head in the sand. When we talked earlier about the idea of a positive show, and the reason that we're doing this show is to get you positive information, this process that Brian has is amazing. Brian and I have talked, and I've just been so intrigued by this. I've shared it with a lot of people about this process. Brian's going to the court system and using the California courts to help people talk, open up a line of dialogue. So when we're going to come back and get more into this with Brian, he and I are going to talk about how you can get the courts to help. Remember to reach me at any time, or to reach Brian. You can call my off-air number, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. I will put you in touch with Brian right away, because he can level the playing field. He is the Lone Ranger. This is Real Estate Radio with Ron.com, or you can connect with us on Facebook as well. Stay tuned to the Real Estate Radio Network. We'll be back in just a few.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.com for more info. That's realestateradio.com.
Reverse mortgages are loans against the equity of a senior American's home. With a reverse mortgage, the homeowner can convert their home equity into cash. It also benefits homeowners in many other ways. With most types of loans, the lender verifies your income and uses that income to determine the amount you'll be able to pay. You don't have to satisfy the monthly repayments with a reverse mortgage. Homeowners over the age of 62 years may apply for a reverse mortgage even without any income. For more information about reverse mortgages, just call our off-air number at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990, or visit realestateradio.com and click the free workshop button.
Proposition 23 is an important measure facing voters this November. Small business leaders and taxpayer groups put the impact of Proposition 23 in perspective. John Kabatek, president of the National Federation of Independent Business, shares his perspective on the need for Proposition 23, which will help struggling small businesses and families by avoiding 60% electricity rate hikes.
The fact is, Californians are struggling like never before. More than 2.2 million Californians are out of work. Small businesses are closing their doors faster than ever before. Proposition 23 is a reasonable approach for people struggling at a time like this.
And John Kupal, president of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association, stresses the importance of Proposition 23 in protecting taxpayers from a massive new energy tax when we can least afford it.
What Proposition 23 would do is temporarily suspend the full implementation of AB 32 until such time as California got back on its economic footing again. And it's a very reasonable proposal.
To learn more about this measure, text Prop 23 to 82442. Have you asked your employer what kind of home mortgage benefits your company offers? Cal Home Benefits has a complete range of home and mortgage benefits, which can save you $5,000 to $10,000 on your living expenses, and the benefit program is completely free to California businesses and groups. If your company or group is not offering home and mortgage benefits, please visit calhomebenefits.com or call 1-800-998-1990. That's 1-800-998-1990. It's free to the organization and can save you thousands.
Are you tired of losing money due to the risk associated with the stock, bond, and real estate markets? Well, there's a new asset class in town that has captured the wisdom of Warren Buffett. According to the Wall Street Journal and CNN Money, Buffett has invested billions into this asset class that offers safety, security, diversification, and superior return potential. For years, the smaller investors have been locked out of this investment. Hi, I'm John Moratori, President of Pacific Partners, Inc., a financial service company, and I would like to ask you a question. If this asset is good enough for Warren Buffett, is it good enough for you? Call us today to set up a free, no-obligation appointment to discuss your finances and an investment solution that can meet your needs. For complete details, call us at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990, and tell us you want what Warren has.
Real Estate Radio is hosted by local real estate and finance expert Ron Siegel. The purpose of this show is to help consumers understand what's really going on in our local real estate market. We're teaching you the why and the how-to, so you'll always be one step ahead of everyone else. Whether you need to sell your home for top dollar, refinance and save money, or even buy a bargain in Southern California, Ron Siegel can help. Call Ron directly at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Take advantage of speaking with Ron anytime you're entering a real estate transaction. Having someone who can answer all of your questions that truly cares about you and your family's best interest is priceless. Call Ron Siegel today and you'll be glad you did. 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or you can visit realestateradio.com for more info.
Have you been to car dealers only to be disappointed by their small inventory? That's not the case at Connell Nissan in Costa Mesa. The Connell family has been serving the community for well over 40 years. Connell Nissan in Costa Mesa wants to buy your car or truck. That's right. Go to ConnellNissan.com to receive your estimated value 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's CONNELL Nissan.com. Or better yet, take the 405 freeway, Harbor Boulevard exit, go south towards the beach about 1 mile to Connell Nissan in Costa Mesa.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio with local expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to the Real Talk with Ron Siegel. I, of course, am Ron Siegel with attorney Brian Ballo.
Hello. Hello.
Thank you for joining me, Brian.
Thank you, Ron.
Remember, for any questions, please call me anytime, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or realestateradio.com. And we're continuing our conversation along the lines of helping any one of our 7 listeners with their foreclosure process. And I've heard of some folks, they get this very gut-wrenching feeling in the pit of their stomach. They've opened up their front door, they get a knock on the front door, and there's a notice taped to the door that says something to the effect of, and Brian, you can tell us the exact wording, but notice of foreclosure or foreclosure sale pending or something along those lines. And they realize that they've been putting their head in the sand too long, they've been throwing away too much mail, and the executioner is on the way.
Well, just to clarify, the notice of default would come in the mail.
Okay.
The notice of trustee sale would be taped to the door 21 days before sale.
Notice of trustee sale. So that's the right terminology. Now, you've had some success with stopping that part of the process.
Right. Yeah. It's we were talking just before. Importantly, I'm acting as an attorney and suing.
Key point right there. An attorney
whose first step is in appropriate cases, and I screen my clients carefully. There's got to be valid causes of action to file a lawsuit. Okay, I'm not a foreclosure consultant, but back in October 2009, there was a state law that was passed, said anybody in the doing foreclosure consulting can't be paid any upfront fees. So that actually put a lot of those people out of business.
With good cause.
Rightly so, because they happen to be a lot of the former mortgage brokers.
Well, we talked about that last show that we had, this migration of car salespeople, which nothing against any of these folks, to mortgage brokers, to loan mod and foreclosure consultants.
Right.
Now they're doing the short sale consulting, which is a whole other thing. We need to talk to professionals. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, as an attorney, my first step in appropriate cases here is, people unfortunately can't even hire an attorney just to talk to the bank.
Right, okay.
Okay? So I'm required, in effect, to sue first.
Okay.
And then we have a dialogue. But oftentimes...
So you're saying you sue for... You have a dialogue with the client first, a consultation with the client.
Right.
Determine if it's appropriate to sue.
Right.
If appropriate, client retains you or signs some sort of an agreement with you, then you sue the lender.
Then we sue the lender, and typically, the causes of action are either related to the loan origination process or they're just not complying with this statute here, 2923.5 of the Civil Code. They're not contacting the borrower. They're not discussing options to avoid foreclosure. They haven't prepared an appropriate declaration and attached it to the notice of default.
I think we've only got 2 of the 7 listeners, maybe 3 of the 7 listeners are attorneys, and I'm certainly not one. So when I look at some of these codes, 2923.5, I think you said,
right?
I don't know what it says. So my first thing is what I really need to know is that 2923.5 is there, and then I need to call you because you know what it says and can interpret it, and then you can actually tell me if it pertains to me.
And that's right. And then we're also asking for a temporary restraining order to enjoin the foreclosure sale. And the court...
So enjoin... help me again.
Stop the sale.
Stop the sale.
And that's the motion which I'm bringing in the Superior Court.
So basically we can start breathing after we saw that notice taped to the door that said that our house is being sold by the court, and we got that thing in our pit of our stomach. We contact you. You see if it's appropriate. You get the temporary restraining order, and we can breathe.
Yeah, and then there's a dialogue between borrower attorney, me,
right,
and bank attorney. Finally, somebody who's not a frontline person at the bank. I'm now dialoguing with a bank attorney who has authority, and it's the discussion's elevated. It's more meaningful, and then I make sure that the bank attorney is focusing on the loan modification application. And what's great about what I'm seeing here in the court system in Southern California is that the judges are actually scheduling loan modification settlement conferences.
Wow.
Okay, and that involves not only both attorneys, but the homeowner borrower, as well as the bank underwriter, that mysterious person that no one gets to talk to. The judges are ordering the bank underwriter to show up.
So we can actually get something done.
That's right.
That's amazing.
Why did it have to come to that?
Right.
That's the unfortunate thing. But the courts are helping. These cases have migrated into the court system, and I think that because of a heavy migration, that's why some of the banks, including Bank of America, it's got the nationwide moratorium right now for about the next 60 days on all foreclosures. I heard that Wells Fargo was not going to follow suit.
But it's kind of hard to say. It's still early to figure out what any of them are going to do. But the important thing is, and I want to make sure that every one of you are clear, Brian's not saying that he gets the whole process done in 21 days. That's the start of it. He gets that temporary restraining order for 21 days, and that's the start of the dialogue between your attorney, which would be Brian, and the bank's attorney to try and get these things moving down the road. So it's a place to really help you out. It's a place where you can get be able to breathe and start rebuilding your life. You deserve to have great holidays. We want everybody to have great holidays, and it starts with making a call now to Brian. And again, you can reach Brian through our 800 number. So call us and let's... or have your friends call us even if they need some help. It's the whole issue is taking action, getting somebody working for you, and we kind of have some fun in studio here, and Jeremy Lee played that Lone Ranger for us because Brian really does act like the Lone Ranger because the banks have a whole band of attorneys, and Brian's working for you. It's just some great stuff, and I wish we had another couple of hours to talk about it, Brian, because you and I have shared, quite a bit of time with you educating me on this process, and unfortunately we're running out of time. But some great information. Again, folks, please, please, please don't put your head in the sand. Call the off-air number so I can put you in touch with Brian. And again, Brian, thank you very much for spending some of your Sunday morning with all 7 of us.
My pleasure, Ron. Here to help. And when in all fairness, I think the lenders are trying to help also. Sometimes just the bureaucratic process just gets too bogged down. And, if I can help people make sure that...
they get a fair shake.
That they're getting attention, and the judges know this also. What people really want is to be heard and understood, and see if they really qualify for that modification.
Exactly. Thank you to all of our sponsors, and of course, a special thanks to our 7 listeners for spending a little bit of your morning with us. That's all for the Real Estate Radio Network. I am your host, Ron Siegel. Next week, our featured guests have been in the real estate business over 34 years. They get the bank listings, and we'll be offering them to you. Again, if you have any questions, call me at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or realestateradio.com. You can go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Real Estate Radio with Ron, no spaces. Stay tuned for the Men's Dugout with Tara Grace. Have a great week, SoCal. We'll talk to you next Sunday right here on AM 830.
The Lone Ranger.
The preceding was a paid program. Opinions expressed